We're live, boy.
We live now?
We live.
All right, Shalom, GC, with the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West, 125th Street, home, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching the truth of the Bible, and the truth is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true Jews according to the Bible, and that our oppressors, the devil, as the Bible speaks of. That's right. If you could, Shapai, if you could, just grab my bag from me, Baba Kashar. Come back there. We're going to go into a little bit of history. Go into a little bit of history tonight. Tonight is a Monday night history class. So we're going to go into some history. We're going to go into when we first got up out of Egypt. Moses led us out of Egypt. We wandered the wilderness for 40 years, killing off those of us who were unbelievers of the power of the Most High, even though we've seen it firsthand. And we turned on Moses. We turned on the Most High. We turned on Moses. And the Most High rewarded us with 40 years of wandering. Rewarded us with 40 years of wandering, killing off all those unbelievers from a certain age up. Now we're in Joshua when we actually met that requirement that the Most High put on us, and we are actually in the land of land that the Most High promised us, land that's flowing with milk and honey. But once we got there, we learned that there was a bunch of squatters and amongst that is in our kingdom, in our land. The Most High told us that in order for us to live peacefully, we'll have to exercise these freeloaders that's in our land. So we went to war with these heathens at the order of the Most High. And as long as we obeyed the Most High, we won every single war. Every single battle that we fought once we got into the kingdom, once we got into our land, we won without like really breaking the sweat. You know what I'm saying? We were once a slave people, knowing nothing but what our masters had given us, to going into ruling and conquering, and then moving on to ruling. But as of right now, we're going on to ruling. And the Most High showed us, as long as we obey Him, there's nothing that we can't do. Why? Because He is our power. He'll fight our battles for us. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about how many of us there are. It's just about if we can actually follow orders. And our orders comes all within our Constitution. The entirety of this, including with the Apocrypha included. Everything in here is our Constitution, is our order, it's our directives. Now we're going to get into something where we're going into battle and something didn't pan out. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we were winning all these battles going into it. But then we started losing the battle. Yeah, you got something, bro?
Sloppy about me. Just bringing in what you were saying, so heavy, because, all we have to do and to win all our battles through life, through everything, is do what the Most High told us to do. And, so He's He's not angry with us. It's like He wants all the glory. We don't have to do anything at all. Like when you said, like He usually would prefer us have a number that is ridiculously more low than our enemies, so that He gets all the credit, all the glory. Yeah, all we have to do is just follow what He said.
Exactly. That's all. It sounds easy. It sounds easy, and really it is easy. The reason why it sounds easy and we think it's not easy is because we've been in oppression for so long. You know what I'm saying? We've been led to believe that we can live alternative lifestyles. That only thing that matters in life is happiness. You know what I'm saying? If this woman is getting on our nerves, we can leave her and find another one that's more peaceful. When no, that's not how the way Most High wants it. That's how the way our oppressor wants it. We follow our oppressor, we get destroyed. We follow our power, we get power. You know what I'm saying? The Most High wants to give us, lands. He wants to give us rulership. He wants to give us ownership. He wants to give us, health and wealth. But we're rejecting him, so he's rejecting us. And it's like I said, it's hard because we don't know what's on the other side of keeping that woman who's getting on our nerves. Or better yet, the spirit of the law is to not even get with the woman that get on your nerves, get with the woman that what's that precept? Her price is far above rubies. You know what I'm saying? You can never you can't find something that's more precious than basically the right woman. You know what I'm saying? But we live in such oppression. In order to get that right woman, we have to do a lot of work. In order for us to do that work, we have to get our butts in these seats and listen to the man above us teach us exactly how the way we're supposed to be, so that we can actually teach our ribs how the way they're supposed to be. It all starts with us. The Most High put us in charge for a reason. He holds us accountable for everything. So in order for us to put our family back, for us to have our family in order, we need to get in order. We need to get in line. The man needs to get in line. He needs to get straight. And I'm not just trying to knock women. The man needs to get right in order for him to be able to righteously check his woman. And then, in turn, check his kids and whatnot. Only then and only then can we start building, the kingdom, how the way the Most High actually wants it to be. Getting a little off subject. You had something?
Calm. It seemed to me like our oppressor and feeding into his culture and his lifestyle is actually to our actual culture, which is the law, statutes, commandments. It's like he's made us too lazy to be able to do it. You know what I mean? I had a sister that I grew up with, came up with. She's like the sister of a guy that I came up with. And in conversation, she kept reverting back to saying, we all sin daily. Like it's a given, like we just naturally sin.
But you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm just letting them know that, like, I don't. And it's very much easy. You know what I'm saying? And if I do happen to a pinch of sin, if I do, I could feel completely guilty instead of just saying, "Oh well, we just sin. Everybody sins." You know what I mean? Like it's like the oppressor has made us so lazy. Like it seems like it's hard to follow the Lord's commands, statutes, and laws, but it's actually not.
No, it's not. It's not hard at all to not eat pork. It's not hard at all to not eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. It's not hard to not sell drugs at all, let alone to your brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard to you bump into somebody and say salam.
Right.
My bad. I'm sorry. It's not hard to do that. Right. It's not hard to give a proper greeting to a brother and sister as they're walking by. You know what I'm saying? Right. Hey, what's going on? Give a nod. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard. It's not hard to not molest kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But in the Christian church, it is. It's a daily burden for them.
Right.
Why? Because they reject the Most High. They reject righteousness. They want to fulfill the lust of their flesh. That is all. That's it. That's it. And speaking of the lust of their flesh, we're about to get into a brother who caused the death of many a brother because he wanted to fulfill the lust of his flesh. Get me Joshua 7. Start at verse 1.
Come. Book of Joshua, chapter 1. You said 7?
Chapter 7, verse 1.
Come. Book of Joshua, chapter 7, verse 1. But the children of Israel committed a trespass and the accursed thing. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel.
So right here it's talking about it's making a point. It's talking about Israel. That's number one. Then someone within Israel from a specific family, a specific tribe and a specific family, did something that was against the Lord, and what he did made the Lord very angry. And that just in that verse, that first verse is getting down to the nitty gritty, the very specific of what's going on in this time and in this age. Like I said at the beginning, this time we're just coming out of the wandering of the wilderness. We got up out of Egypt. Moses gave us the law. We're wandering. We're wandering, and now we got into the land that the Most High had promised us. And right here, once we got into the land that the Most High has promised us, that we're actually fighting wars and battles to get the people that weren't supposed to be in there up out of there. And with that, pass the class, the priest and officer, the Kamaya. So you want to keep the score up there? I get you. Count.
Yeah, she don't shout going on.
She don't shout that.
What's going on?
To what, sir?
What were you going over?
I was going over with Joshua. Was in the land, and then that one brother who took the Moabite's garment and the gold, hid it under his tent.
Right.
How the Most High was mad at that.
No. God. All right. Do we have any questions?
Let's see. Lots, sir.
No
questions just yet, sir.
All right. You good on questions?
Connor, sir.
All right. We left off at first Maccabees 13.
Count 13 and 8, sir.
Okay. All right, let's pick back up. We left off at. We're almost just about done this chapter.
8. Connor. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 8. And they answered with a loud voice, saying, Thou shalt be our leader instead of Judas and Jonathan thy brother.
You can start from 1.
Come. Book of First Maccabees, chapter 13, verse 1. Now when Salmon heard that Tryphon had gathered together a great host to invade the land of Judea and destroy it, verse 2, and saw that the people were in great trembling and fear, he went up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together, verse 3, and gave them exhortation.
Right, what is exhortation?
Like relief.
No, he lift that spirit. You can lift up, give me a quick definition.
Come.
So during this time right here,
It's like,
right, during this time right here, the brothers, a couple of this Simon is the son, is one of the sons of Mattathias, who was leading everyone back, or Israelites who wanted to, back to the Most High, back to following their law, back to following His laws, and then during that, the Lord was with him and allowed him victory over the enemies who would conquer us and who had us enslaved. So like you'll read when they had certain Greeks, they had Alexander the Great, they had Demetrius, they had Romans, they had Antiochus, and other people who were heathens who were strong at this time and would come in Jerusalem or in Israel and in Israel's land and would conquer us and would try to get us to eat swine's flesh and put idols in our altars and get us to worship strange gods and get us to worship stone and wood other than worshiping the Most High God. And then then a brave man, Mattathias, stood up and said that he would not do that. And he said, and then he cried in a loud voice saying, anybody who's willing to follow me and do not want to, be a traitor to the Most High, and follow me into the mountains. So he led those people, and throughout the time of Mattathias, the Lord was with him and his army, his small army at that, and the Lord helped the small men conquer their fight and win wars against their enemies. And then each land they went to, where other Israelites were held captive, they were knocked down. They would destroy that stronghold, destroy that city, and free the Israelites who were captive. So then, once he freed his people, of course, the army would get bigger. The village would get bigger. Israel started to grow and return back to home. And then Mattathias died. His son Judas stepped up in his stead. Judas died. Judas lost a war. Then his brother Jonathan stepped up. Now Jonathan died, putting too much trust into Esau. Esau told him, to come to Esau. Jonathan was going to go fight him. Then Esau said, no, I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to give you land. Just come on into this land here. And once Jonathan was led into the castle or to the village, they closed the gates behind Jonathan and his men and killed him. So now we're caught up. Now Jonathan has died, and now Simon is the next brother to stand up in the line of Mattathias' sons, and now he's going to lead the people. So the people would return back home, and now they're sad because their leader has died. And now Simon's job is to lift their spirits back up, because right now they're shaking with fear. Go ahead, brother.
Slightly, a little bit off question, if I may, off subject, if I may. But during Sabbath service, when you're giving the wine and you say Yashala and you sip the wine, what is the purpose of that?
The purpose of that salute, that's part of the Sabbath service tradition. The purpose is, of course, you're saluting your nation. You're saying "Rise, Israel," and that's a part of the Sabbath service protocol. Okay. But I can give you more questions on it when I talk to Kyle. You're probably looking for a scripture for it or something, right? Or you just asking why
that particular part,
right? And part of it was a part of the service, drinking wine in the service.
Come. But
I'll be more defined and give you a better explanation when I talk to the Sabbath service leader.
Come.
Who we at? Okay, so now we're picking up in chapter 13 when Jonathan has died. The people are so afraid, and now Simon's job is to go ahead and lift their spirits up and let them know that the Lord is with them.
You wanted the definition of
exhortation? Yeah.
Exhortation.
Mm-hmm.
Exhortation, an address or communication emphatically urging someone to do something. Similar words would be urging or encouragement.
Say read again.
Exhortation, an address or communication emphatically urging someone to do something.
Right. Go ahead. So that's what Simon was doing. Simon was, urging them to, keep their spirits high. Don't be afraid. Let them know that the Lord is with them. You continue to read on.
Come. I'm on 2. My page. I lost my page. So it's not. I completely lost my page. There we go. Yeah, page. Here we go. and saw that the verse 3, and gave them exhortation, saying, ye yourselves know what great things I and my brethren and my father's house have done for the laws and the sanctuary.
Right. So you running down with running down because it started with Mattathias. Mattathias reigned and he passed away. Judah and then son Judah's reign rose up. Judas was the one who's the main warrior, and he went and put in so much work that all his works was not recorded. And then when he passed away, Jonathan rose in his stead and ruled and won some wars and tried to during this time now between at the end of Judas and in the time of Jonathan, it's like that's when they really didn't fight so much. They were trying to see if they can make treaties or some kind of peace treaties, okay, just let us do our thing and we promise not to do anything to y'all. So just let us, worship the Most High.
Okay.
And that's how, at first when you read it, you're like, you would think, why are they doing that? They should, fight. But not all the time. Sometimes you'll read throughout the Bible as though, especially in the time of when Israel was just a small nation, when it was just Jacob and his sons, when they were smaller people, but they would still worship the Most High, but they were living amongst heathen. There was heathen around them. So to try to not cause too much trouble or anything, they would just, section off, be in a little area, and then let, the heathen, do their thing as long as, there's no strife or, no beef. So during this time, Jonathan, he's trying to sometimes just not really trying to fight, just trying to rebuild Israel and worship the Most High. But of course, you have other heathens around who's trying to destroy Israel. So they had to fight. But I bring this up to say, had Esau not be greedy or other heathens try to go and be greedy and conquer the land, then most likely a lot of wars won't happen. That's what I'm saying, because Israel is a chill people. We're not no pushovers and nothing like that. We're warriors. But it's okay, we fight and then chill and just try to rebuild and worship the Most High. And then there's, heathens who want to come up and conquer that land. So it's okay, now we got to defend. Most of the times we read the Bible, a lot of our moves are defensive moves, not offensive. We're not even going to another land to conquer the land. We in our land, chilling, celebrating the feast or something like that, and there's some heathen that come. And sometimes the Lord allows because we sinned against him. You know what I'm saying? So now, now I'm starting to see because at first, and that's the same thing sometimes, but it seems like what's going on with Jonathan. With Jonathan, he had two great enemies. One was attacking him, one wasn't. So he thought it was wise to side with the one team who wasn't, which was the Romans. So let's go ahead. We go ahead and continue to read.
Come.
Mm-hmm. But then he'll come to find out that you just can't trust your enemy.
Come.
Go ahead.
The battles also and troubles which we have seen. Verse 4. By reason whereof all my brethren are slain for Israel's sake, and I am left alone. Verse 5. Now therefore be it far from me that I should spare mine own life in any time of trouble, for I am no better than my brethren. Verse 6. Doubtless I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary and our wives and our children for all the heathen that gather to destroy us of very malice. Verse 7. Now as soon as the people heard these words, their spirit revived.
Right, and that's what it is. That's why it's so important that, the I.S.U.P.K is out there and we speak. And a lot of times when you hear people in the world that's actually listening, their spirits are uplifted. Like they'd be weak. You might have some brother or sister walk past the camp and be down. And when we out there speaking, those be the words that they just needed to hear to raise their spirits, man.
Right.
And to look forward to something. Like look forward to the ending of our hell. So when you out there teaching, make sure you teach it, make sure, you bringing it out heavy and powerful as you can. And we just regurgitate what the Lord is saying in the Bible.
Okay.
You continue. Go ahead.
It's like the precept. I don't have the precept in scripture, but it would be the comforter. Mm-hmm. Like you said, when we be at camp and somebody walk past and they just hear it and their spirit get revived, in the scripture, that would be the comforter, the Holy Spirit. They just hearing the Spirit through us, and it hits their spirit.
Mm-hmm. The Most High speaking. Most High speaking. Through it. Just speaking the Most High words.
Come.
All right. You go ahead, continue.
Come. Verse 8. And they answered with a loud voice, saying, Thou shalt be our leader, instead of Judas and Jonathan, thy brother. Verse 9. Fight thou our battles, and whatsoever thou commandest us, that we will do. That will we do. Verse 10. So then he gathered them all the men of war, and made haste to finish the walls of Jerusalem. And he fortified it round about. Verse 11. Also he sent Jonathan, the son of Absalom, and with him a great power, to Joppi, who casting out them that were therein remained there in it. Who casting out them that were therein remained there in it. Verse 12. So Tryphon removed from Ptolemaeus with a great power to invade the land of Judea, and Jonathan was with him in war. Verse 13. But Simon pitched his tents at Adida over against the plain. Verse 14. Now when Tryphon knew that Simon was raised up instead of his brother Jonathan, and meant to join battle with him, he sent messages unto him, saying, verse 15, whereas we have Jonathan thy brother in hold, it is for money that he is owing unto the king's treasure, concerning the business that was committed unto him. Verse 16, wherefore now send 100 talents of silver and 2 of his sons for hostages, that when he is at liberty, he may not revolt from us, and we will let him go. Right. So now hold him for ransom, and that's what they would do. Like especially in this chapter, through this chapter, you'll hear a lot of times about even Esau taking Esau, like different Edomite kingdoms taking a son for a hostage, so that king will not wage war against them. So now it says Jonathan was killed. So it's either they have Jonathan's body, a dead body, or they actually have Jonathan just holding him hostage. But it said that Jonathan was killed. So for sure they have his body. And it seems like he's dead. That's what it says, that he's dead. We'll see if he's actually alive or not. But he's trying to say, but he for sure telling Simon, like, we have your brother's body. If you want it, and that's what the price was, the shackles and 2 of his sons. But it says so he won't revolt. So it looks like Tryphon trying to deceive him, trying to make it seem like, oh, he's alive. We'll see. We'll continue to read. Go ahead. Come. Verse 17. Hereupon Simon, albeit he perceived that they spake deceitfully unto him. Right. Go ahead. Yet sent he the money and the children, lest peradventure he should procure to himself great hatred of the people.
Right. So he thought man, this dude lying. Like you got my son. I mean, you got my brother held captive, and you trying to say that he's alive, but I'm hearing that he's dead. But I was like, I think you're lying. But sometimes when you know something's a bad deal, or you think something's not fully true, but you still go through it because it'd be like a just in case type situation. So it's like, just in case he is alive, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and send him. And he did it for the people. Like the people is hearing that this heathen has Jonathan hostage, and Simon does not act on it. It's because it said, if you read, it says, lest peradventure he should procure himself to great hatred of the people. Like it's saying, if he didn't do something to try to give shekels to try to free Jonathan, and the people will hate him. People look at him like, oh, you didn't even free your brother. You're not trying to free him or trying to get his body. This, for some reason, they'll start hating him for that. All right, go ahead.
Come. Verse 18. Who might have said, because I sent them, not the money and the children, therefore is Jonathan dead. Verse 19. So he sent the children and the 100 talents.
Hold on, wait, so read 18 again.
So he sent them the children and the 100 talents.
No, 18.
Excuse me. Verse 18. Who might have said, because I sent him not the money and the children, therefore is Jonathan dead.
Right. So it's like, hold on, like, the people might think he's alive, but if he don't send them, the people will look at him like, oh, he's dead then. Because you ain't send the money on his children, so Jonathan must be dead. Go ahead. Verse
19. So he sent them the children and 100 talents. Howbeit, Tryphon dissembled, neither would he let Jonathan go. Verse 20. And after this came Tryphon to invade the land and destroy it, going round about by the way that leadeth unto a door. But Simon and his host marched against him in every place, wheresoever he went. Verse 21. Now they that were in the tower sent messages unto Tryphon, to the end that he should hasten his coming on to them by the wilderness, and send them victuals. Verse 22. Wherefore Tryphon made ready all his horsemen to come that night. But there fell a very great snow, by reason whereof he came not. So he departed and came into the country of Galaad. Verse 23. And when he came near to Bascama, he slew Jonathan, who was buried there. Verse 24. After Tryphon returned and went into his own land. Verse 25. Then sent Simon and took the bones of Jonathan his brother and buried them in Modin, the city of his father.
So it said he was dead before, but he actually, so it looks like Jonathan was alive at the time, but he still, deceived him and did not believe. But he went and slew Jonathan and buried him there, and somewhere near Bascama. And Jonathan went and collected his body, and that's what we always did. Like when we were killed, or even if we died, even if we weren't killed, we would always carry the body and bury the body in the proper place.
Come.
All right. We would travel with the body. Go ahead.
Hence the holiday of what is it? 4th of July? Oh, no, not 4th. What just came in for the 4th of July? Where we're the ones who went and grabbed the troops. Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. Hence Memorial Day. That would be a good one for that one, I believe. Well, they left the bodies and we made sure they were buried.
You said Memorial. You saying. Well,
it's like, so what he's saying is
Did he say Esau's army just leave the bodies?
Just kind of. And the history of Memorial Day was when black soldiers was there, and they buried both the Union and the Confederate soldiers, put them in proper burial places. And when Esau left, they just left the bodies there and just degraded them.
Right. So Esau don't care, but Jake even not. And that's how you know we the children of the Most High.
Con.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Jake still, like, he's divided, is dead. Just leave it. Jake, Esau was like, it's just dead. They're like, what can we do? It's dead. It's useless. Jake is like, no, this body is going to get a proper burial. Like, even though they did, like, no, they have family. They have this, they have that. They got to this person has to get a proper burial. And that's what Memorial Day is about. That's what you said it's about?
Con, sir.
About black men.
Con.
Burying, not bringing them back home, but just burying them there where they were at.
Con.
Instead of just leaving them on the ground, leaving them in the field. Actually burying them in
their own individual graves and marking them who they were, or to the best of their ability, marking who that body was.
Right.
It's real, man.
Ooh,
You left off at
verse 26, sir.
Go ahead.
Verse 26. And all Israel made great lamentation for him and bewailed him many days. Verse 27. Simon also built a monument upon the sepulchre of his father and his brethren, and raised it aloft to the site with hewn stone behind and before. Verse 28. Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids, one against another, for his father and his mother and his 4 brethren. Verse 29.
Right, so you see pyramids. Here he did pyramids. Pyramids is for death. You know what I'm saying? Like the Egyptians, the heathens, they took it, try to make a big burial site, a monument, try to make it beautiful. And just make it big. Of course, they made it huge for their pharaoh, and that will bury whatever, his cats and his whatever, save his organs and vessels and gold, bury his gold with them and all that. The pyramid is just an oversized grave. A glorified, beautiful grave. That's all it is. Go ahead.
So Esau just makes such a big thing out of everything when the proof is right here. Like who made this? The pyramids, the aliens? No, it's right here.
Right. But this one is the 7 pyramids. This one don't think like these are huge pyramids. They can be small.
Okay.
They can be small. They can be big lumps of dirt, or actual something a little more beautiful than a huge mountain of dirt.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 28. Verse 29. And in these he made cunning devices, about the which he set great pillars, and upon the pillars he made all their armor for a perpetual memory.
Right. So this one, he made a little museum. He made a little memorial, something to remember. He put pillars, just like, and they got it at the grave. They got it at the grave at the yard now. For people that got a little more money, those grave, when you go to the cemetery, you got people. Most people is buried with a tombstone or like a little plate. They don't have a tombstone. But you got other ones where those are big like brick. It's like a marble house, stone house. We'll go ahead.
It's called the mausoleum.
Called a mausoleum, and then it's bodies in it. It might be families, and one big mausoleum or one person or whatever. But you can tell those are more for people that have more money.
Okay.
And this one, that's what he made: pyramid, mausoleum, and he put that shield. He made a memorial there. It's for memories of the work that they put in.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Like about me, I see a lot of those in New Orleans burial grounds. They have a lot of those.
Mm-hmm. We got them in DC too.
Like in New Orleans, like it looks more common.
Yeah, it might be more common. Go ahead.
Common. For a perpetual memory, and by the armor ships carved, that they might be seen of all that sail on the sea. Verse 30. This is the sepulchre which he made at Modin, and it standeth yet unto this day. Verse 31. Now Tryphon dealt deceitfully with the young king Antiochus and slew him. Verse 32.
Right. So, and we're gonna get the history on the Antiochus because there was many Antiochus, but one of the Antiochus were young, and he was set king at like the age of 12 or younger or something like that. He was real young in the seat of rulership, like really young. So this could be that young one. I'm gonna let you know. Go ahead and continue to read.
Come. Verse 32. And he reigned in his stead, and crowned himself king of Asia, and brought a great calamity upon the land. Verse 33. And then Simon built up the strongholds in Judea, and fenced them about with high towers, and great walls, and gates, and bars, and laid up victuals therein. Verse 34. Moreover, Simon chose men, and sent to King Demetrius, to the end he should give the land and immunity. Because all that Tryphon did was to spoil. Verse 35. Unto whom King Demetrius answered and wrote after this manner. Verse 36. King Demetrius unto Simon the high priest and friend of kings, as also unto the elders and nation of the Jews, sendeth greeting. Verse 37. The golden crown and the scarlet robe which ye sent unto us, we have received, and we are ready to make a steadfast peace with you. Yea, and to write unto our officers to confirm the immunities which we have granted. Verse 38. And whatsoever covenants we have made with you shall stand, and the strongholds which ye have builded shall be your own. Verse 39. As for any oversight or fault committed unto this day, we forgive it, and the crown tax also.
Right. So here it is here. So this is about the. It's Antiochus the fifth. 1 second. Antiochus. Make sure I got my Roman numbers right. Okay, the 6. So this is the young king that died. Antiochus the 6th. Dionysus. The what? Dionysus. Number 6. Yeah, the 6 in Roman. Okay, so this is the king that Tryphon. So Tryphon's name is Diodotus. Diodotus. Or Diodotus. We'll go Diodotus. Tryphon. He raised up Antiochus, and they said he was just using the young king as a tool. Like he really didn't rule, but he was saying that Antiochus should rule because his father has died, and he was doing it to be in opposition of Demetrius II. And it said the young king, and the young king died sometime between 140 142 BC before Christ. And they're saying that Antiochus died at the age of somewhere between the age of seven and 9. So that's why it says when Tryphon he deceived. What it says, he deceived him. What verse you was at when it said that? Verse 31. Read 31.
Okay. Now Tryphon, verse 31. Now Tryphon dealt deceitfully with the young king Antiochus and slew him.
Right. So Tryphon and Antiochus was in the same kingdom. Tryphon was acting as a general. That's why he was going around fighting. He was the war. He was a general. That's why he was fighting there all the wars and trying to conquer everything. And now, but young Antiochus, who was what history is saying was between the age of 7 and 9, his father was Alexander Balis. So he was one Alexander. He wasn't Alexander the Greek, but his name was Alexander. After Alexander died, of course he died dealing with Israel. Or was it Ptolemy? I was bring up why he died. But after he died, the young boy Tryphon was like, "Oh, this brother right here, he should raise. I mean, this little son right here, he's the next king. Even though he was between 7 and 9 years old, his father died. He's the heir, so he needs to rule. But since he was 7 or 9, he was a king. But the general Tryphon was still, making the moves to raging war. He was really in charge. And then after a while, he decided to kill the young boy and then just sit in the throne himself. So I mean, the history is saying that most of history is saying that Tryphon is responsible for the king's death. Other smaller sources are saying that Tryphon died in surgery. We're going to go with the apocrypha that said that he dealt with him deceitfully, and the rest of the history knows that. Deceitfully. All right, go ahead and read.
Come. What's that? Okay. Verse 39. As for any oversight or fault committed unto this day, we forgive it. And the crown tax also, which ye owe us. And if there were any other tribute paid in Jerusalem, it shall no more be paid. Verse 40. And look who are meet among you to be in the court. Let them be enrolled, and let there be a peace betwixt us. Verse 41. Thus the yoke of the heathen was taken away from Israel in the 170th year. Verse 42. Then the people of Israel began to write in their instruments and contracts in first year of Simon, the high priest, the governor and leader of the Jews. Verse 43. In those days Simon camped against Gaza and besieged it round about. He made also an engine of war and set it by the city and battered a certain tower and took it. Verse 44.
Like if I could, just that last verse, it just shows that the men of the Lord and the leaders of Israel are men of war, and not these these so-called church leaders in our communities. They know nothing of war. They don't want anything to do with war. They don't even want to go and fight for the people that's in their congregation.
Right.
They don't want to have anything to do with the fight.
It's more of the people who, as you've seen, Demetrius, Alexander, but all of them try to fight for the loyalty or to offer friendship to Jews. They said, "Hey, I'll give you a golden buckle and give you a purple garment. Those are the ones who took the purple garment. You know, so they took the purple garment, and that's what I.S.U.P.K and all them spiritually, they took the purple garment, and then you have the, you know, so the fake Israelites who actually have the golden buckle and the purple garment, which is so crazy in the spirit that we read this now, and it's like it's fully in the spirit showing who you are.
Right.
Okay.
They actually got the golden buckle,
Right.
and the purple,
Okay.
and willing to be, you know, turn people for money. They not the spirit of Malachi's sons. So go ahead.
If I may, verse 39 actually shows how it's nothing for somebody who might say that we might be using. We always talk about the oppressor and how we don't like what he does, but we use his 501(c) tax exemption. You know, we in this system, we use this system. This verse 39 is a direct cut to that, where it says, you know, Simon was given immunity to Israel, and the taxes that they used to have to pay, they didn't. You know, he gave it to that because he was a high priest.
This might be I think Captain Council had pulled this about a couple of years ago. This might be the actual verse of scripture. 39 is what? And for any other oversight or fault committed unto the day we forgive it, and crown tax also, which ye owe us. For if there were any tribute paid in Jerusalem, it shall be no more. It's another scripture.
It is another scripture.
Yeah, it's another one.
But I'm just talking about me. I'm just making note that this is another one.
Not okay. No, this one is not. 39 is not.
Okay.
39 is just saying they just making a treaty and saying anything that you owe us, taxes or tribute or whatever, don't worry about it.
Okay.
That don't have nothing to do with the, you know, the 501c3. The other scripture is more clear and relatable to the 501c3. This one is just trying to make a treaty, trying to make a deal, and erasing whatever we owe them. Go ahead, can you continue?
Okay.
Because I can pick up.
Come.
I think it's 44.
44.
Okay.
First Maccabees 13:44. And they that were in the engine leapt into the city, whereupon there was a great uproar in the city, insomuch as the people of the city rent their clothes and climbed upon the walls with their wives and children, and cried with a loud voice, beseeching Simon to grant them peace. And they said, Deal not with us according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercy. Verse 47. So Simon was appeased towards them, and fought no more against them, but put them out of the city, and cleansed the houses wherein the idols were, and so entered into it with songs and thanksgiving.
And you see, like Israel, once again, how I brought out a couple minutes ago. Israel is just trying to get a land, establish on the land,
Right.
worship the Most High. Like at times we will destroy our own land, and other times we're gonna have mercy. Like this, he's saying here, they're like, look, please, you know. And at that time he was listening, and probably got, you know, they try to get his spirit, and it got to his spirit. Like he's like, damn, okay, you know what? I came to destroy. They like, please use your mercy, not your, you know, not you know. I know we wicked as hell, we evil as hell, we deserve death. But we, you know, show, you know, please don't forget our wickedness, and, you know, bring forth your mercy if you can. And he decided, he was appeased, but he like, you know what? All right, y'all go and get out of here. And he destroyed all the idols and cleansed their city of all them idols and any wicked trinkets or false gods that was in there. He got up out of it. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go pick up.
Come. Verse 48. Yea,
Who was that?
put all uncleanness.
Young man.
Okay.
Yea, put all uncleanness out of it, and place such men thereas would keep the law, and made it stronger than it was before, and built therein a dwelling place for himself. Verse 49. They also of the tower in Jerusalem were kept so straight that they could neither come forth nor go into the country, nor buy, nor sell. Wherefore they were in great distress for want of victuals, and a great number of them perished through famine. Verse 50. Then cried they to Solomon. Then cried they to Simon, beseeching him to be at one with them. Which thing he granted him, and when he had put them out from thence, he cleansed the tower from pollutions. Verse 51.
Right. You know, so it's many different ways. Hey, Shalom, bro. What's going on? It's many different ways. You know what I'm saying? These people were the heathens that was in Jerusalem, you know what I'm saying? They could not leave or get out. Like he put like, you know, what's the word? Sanctions. They had to put like a sanction around them, like they couldn't leave or get out and didn't have any food. You know what I'm saying? So they cried to him, and he said, "Yeah, okay, y'all go ahead and leave." He ain't going there and kill them, starve them. You know what I'm saying? So there's many different ways you can fight the heathen. You know what I'm saying? You go to war with them. If you starve anybody, they'll do anything for some food and for some order. You know what I'm saying? You starve them heathens, and so you got a partner?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me show the partner. 1 second. But like I was saying, you know, you starve any people. It's many different ways of war. You gotta think about Esau. The police will kill you in the streets. That's one way. Another way of war, which will defeat our spirit, is having a black family separate and encouraging the black woman to put the man out of the house. That's one way. Another way of war. Another way of war is what? The drug epidemics, like the crack epidemic, or the drug epidemics. That's killing us slowly. Some of it is killing us right away. Another one is when they put those free guns in different black neighborhoods so we can have it to kill each other. Other way of war is stopping us before we're born, telling a black woman, "Hey, you need to think about getting some money. You need to think about making 6 figures before you have a child. You need to think about getting a bachelor's degree, master's, a PhD before you even think about having a kid." Though what I just wrote down, what I just expounded on was several different ways of war, and there's more. You know, you got gentrification. I just was reading something. I just was looking at a video, and they said I gotta look at it again. But basically, this Edomite was bringing out how when black men get locked up, okay, so in your city, there's supposed to be representatives, people that represent the people in that city or something like that. So when black men get locked up, they on purpose will transfer you to a rural, a white city or white state, and you count as a person in that you count as a person or resident in that town or in that state. So if you're from DC, they can switch you to another county jail or something like that. Say they switch you to a jail in Alabama. They can legally swipe your DC ID and give you an Alabama ID. So now you're officially an Alabama resident. in some way, somehow you count towards the census. You count as you count as a resident of that as in that state or that city, but then you have white representatives in that city. Go ahead.
Kind of. What you're saying, what you're bringing out is
You go check it out.
what you're saying is
Was it bird zone?
Kind.
Okay.
What you're saying is what prisons do is they have these massive prison populations, and they count as constituents towards the representative count. So each state, depending on the population, has a certain amount of representatives that they get in the House of Representatives, and the prisoners
of that. So does each state, each city or each state has a House of Representatives?
Each state
supposed to, and what is the job of representatives to bring out whatever that state needs
They're
or
lawmakers.
issues or lawmakers? Okay.
So they're lawmakers. They bring out they'll have
Go ahead.
they'll propose bills and whatnot, and then they'll send it into the House of Representatives, and it gets sent up to the Senate to get approved as well. So the prison population counts towards the number of representatives that they have. Just like you're saying, they'll ship them to white states, and then there'll be more white representatives to make more laws for them.
Go ahead, brother.
That comes under the mandate from the federal government because all of the states are subsidized, so they get about $40,000 per inmate. So it trickles
So they
down.
get $40,000.
Yes,
Who gets $40,000?
this prison system
Right.
per inmate to house you and feed you.
So, what's the significance of why they need us?
So if they have a large prison population, and a lot of times it'll like equal their regular population, they'll have double the amount of representation in the House of Representatives, so they get more voting power or more power to make laws. When it's really just a small number of people that actually want that type of law. So they'll rival larger states that actually have people, voting for certain types of values and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Whereas in those smaller states, where that has a lot of a large prison population.
So there could be a small state. What's a small state? For example, a state that has small population.
Like Iowa.
Okay, Iowa. So say Iowa has 10,000, 20,000.
No, well, it has more than that, but
let's just say they have 20,000 people. But the prison population is bigger than that.
It'll probably be about 15,000, 10 to 15,000. So it'll rival that that actual free population for those smaller areas. So if Iowa just had the regular population, it'll probably have like 3 representatives. But with the prison population, they'll have 5.
Okay, so they need more. Okay, so the more people in your city or your state, the more representatives you can have. And you saying the more representatives you have could better the outcome if you want to pass a law or pass a law to the Senate. Okay, go ahead.
Did you ask the significance of us in the system?
Right.
The 13th Amendment made an exception to slavery, so slavery never ended. It went from private to from public to private.
Right.
So if you own a major institution, you can own slaves. If you are convicted of a felony, you are still a slave.
For sure.
Right. So one of the biggest lies that convinced us of is that we're free. And the 13th Amendment says that slavery was abolished except you be convicted of felony.
Either way, it's white man's devil slavery still going on. So that's also another way of what I was bringing out, war. Whereas though they're not shooting us right there, but you still rotting away in prison, and then they're using you to pass laws to get more numbers of representatives in whatever state, and changing your residency. It's ridiculous. You might need to man the computer. You think? You sit right here. I probably might need you man a computer, of course. All right, let's continue to read. So I brought all that out to show that right here, Simon has the upper hand, but he didn't kill the heathen. He did not kill the heathen. What he did was starve them, basically. And they, cried out to him. He said he put them out. He put them out of Israel. They were in Israel. He could have just went in there and killed them and slayed them out of Israel, but he starved them, and they ran up out of there. And then he went in, and when they cleansed, got all the idols out of there, and anything that was against the Most High, he cleaned out of there. Let me go ahead and continue.
Come. Verse 51. And entered into the three. And
for right now, share with the brother. I'm gonna pass him this one time.
Chapter and verse.
First Maccabees chapter 13, verse 51. Shalom, I'm not gonna be able to see about it.
Go ahead. For right now, go ahead and read. I'm gonna pass him one. Go ahead.
Come. And entered into the 23rd day of the second month, and in the 171st year, with thanksgiving and branches of palm trees, and with harps, and cymbals, and with viols, and hymns, and songs, because there was destroyed a great enemy out of Israel. Verse 52. And ordained also that day should be kept every year with gladness. Moreover, the hill of the temple that was by the tower he made stronger than it was, and there he dwelt himself with his company. Verse 53. And when Simon saw that John his son,
We had verse 53. We had at the end. We had chapter 13, verse 53. Gotta go on to chapter 14. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 53. And when Simon saw that John his son was a valiant man, he made him captain of all the host, and he dwelt in Gazara. Chapter 14, verse 1. And in the 112th year of King Demetrius gathered his forces together and went into Media to get him help to fight against Tryphon. Verse 2.
And then you see these are two Edomites, Tryphon and Demetrius, but they're two different Edomites who are trying to rule. But they still are Edomites at the end of the day. Some of them are Romans, some of them are Greeks, and some of them are just Esau. But they're fighting against each other right now. Trying to be the number one Edomite. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 2. But when Arsaces.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I need you to pick up a quad. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 2. But when let's say, but when Arsaces, the king of Persia and Media, heard that Demetrius was entered within his borders, he sent one of his princes to take him alive, who went and smote the host of Demetrius and took him and brought him to Arsaces, by whom he was put in ward. Mm-hmm. Verse 4. As for the land of Judea, that was quiet all the days for Simon. That was quiet all the days of Simon, for he sought the good of his nation in such wise as that evermore his authority and honor pleased them well. And as he was honorable in all his acts, so is this, that he took Joppa for an haven and made an entrance to the isles of the sea.
And I believe Simon, there should be a precept that's saying Simon, when Mattathias passed away, Simon was the one that went and got counsel from. Like Judas was anointed. It was a son that was anointed to lead, to take Mattathias' stead, because Judas was the most into warfare. He was great at warfare. But Simon, Mattathias said to them to go, said for his sons or his brothers to go to Simon to use Simon as a father. Meaning Simon was the one who was going to give guidance. So it was Judas, Jonathan passed away. Then Simon was the one that ruled. Go ahead.
Ben said Simon was a priest. I don't know if Judas was just a war man, I believe, but Simon was a priest. So that just goes to show if our religious, our so-called religious leaders were following the laws and everything, they would probably be the best leaders because all of Judea was peaceful while Simon was in rule.
Not specifically that. I mean, just because sometimes it depends. It depends on what you need. Like, as long as it's like I said, it's not always going to be all peace. You need a warrior. You need somebody to go to war. So that time, Judas was chosen to lead because he was the most war. He was a warrior. You know what I'm saying? They didn't put Simon first. They put Judas. Simon, but he was the wisest brother. That's why his father. That's why Mattathias said, Simon shall be like as a father unto you, because he was the one that had the best guidance or the best advice and the best counsel. But Judas needed to go and wage war and get all his people back. Simon might wage war, but he might not wage as much good war or the best war as Judas did. Just like David. David was a hell of a warrior and put in so much work and got rid of those heathens. And then he raised up Solomon, to be a wise man, to give God counsel and be wise and use his wisdom. But it's gonna be a time when you need a war general, and there's a time when you need that's when they got priests. That's why even the warriors will go to the priests for advice and stuff like that. You need that good balance of, because you'll meet brothers around you. You'll meet brothers around you. Of course, we all in UPK gonna defend ourselves, but everybody's not looking forward to fight. And it don't make them less of a man or less of or nothing like that. They just not fighters. But then you got men who are fighters, but they need guidance. They are warriors, but they're thinking like a warrior, and at times need to be more patient. Need to be more patient, more calm, more chill, not just jump to war, not just jump to the fight. They need somebody to give them that advice, need somebody to guide them and let them know, okay, right now don't fight, or it'll be wise if you, instead of killing them, do them like this. You know what I'm saying? So you need that balance. Go ahead.
Salam. That's kind of what I was saying. Like with Simon, he did have times where he would war. He had times where he instead of just killing all of them, he starved them out, let them go by themselves. Like he was a man who followed the law, statutes, and commandments.
They all follow the law, statutes, and commandments though.
But like Judas and Jonathan at one point they didn't.
Why?
I would say because of the covenants that they were trying to get.
And Simon's doing the same thing.
Oh,
so he's doing the same thing. Go ahead.
Didn't bring my reader, so
okay.
I'm not gonna be any good.
You don't have your glasses?
Yes.
Okay, no sweat. So, but they doing the same. But Simon's doing the same thing. I see your point, but Simon's doing the same exact thing. Whereas though, don't trust your enemy. That's a lesson. The lesson is don't trust your enemy. Whereas Judas, if you look at when Judas put in so much work, he was so victorious. And the rumor of his warfare spread all through to all the other heathen kings. And they heard about him and tried to go to war against him. They would never win. Only time when Judas died is when we kept hearing the great rumors of Rome. Like, damn, like Rome was so powerful. Rome was starting to build up. And Rome started to, shake the world through the word of mouth. Like, we hearing about Rome, how powerful they are. And then here you go, Judas, Israel, we still dealing with the Greeks. And Judas is like, you know what? I mean, they're so strong. Let me make a treaty with the Romans so we can fight the Greece, or fight Demetrius. You get what I'm saying? So there, it's always like sticky situation because it's like you're trying to be smart, but you gotta remember to just lean on the Most High. Like the Most High will destroy all of them and all that. But we are men, and at times, it's spaces when you could forget about the Most High.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's times when you can be fearless for 20 years, but that 21st year, somehow, some way, it's like, you're not thinking about the Most High. You're thinking about, okay, the enemy that's around you. Like, I should make a treaty with him because I'm at war with him. Just like when you say you be disciplined. I believe I brought it up. Like I brought up, like, ways though you've been, I've been in school for 10 years, right? Never got into a fight with a brother, but now after 10 years, there's a spirit that's going on where as though I almost got into a fight with a brother. Like it's like, wait a minute, 10 years I will never even think about fighting another black man. But now today was a day where I almost got into a fight with a black man. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it is, like with them, like, and it was like that was though and especially with it, and it was shoulder times with Israelites, was though when Moses freed Israel out of the captivity of Egypt, and as soon as they got in the wilderness, they started turning against Moses because they was getting hungry. They said, I'm hungry. Did Moses bring me out of the wilderness to starve us to death? I want to go back to Egypt because at least Egypt had food. Egypt had grapes and fried chicken, and Egypt had this. Like you willing to go back to slavery for a piece of chicken? So it'd be that quick. So carnal people like that will easily turn men of the Lord because with men, it can still happen. Like you can go 10 years disciplined, and then a year, the next year, Satan, because like Satan, the reason why is because Satan never stops. That's what we gotta remember. Satan never stops. Like you can not smoke weed, not have sex with a prostitute for 10, 15 years. The 16th year, 11th year, Satan's gonna test you and gonna come around again 10 years later to see how you still strong. He's still gonna test you. And it's like, and then you'll might catch yourself like, wait a minute, hold up, I almost fell for that. I almost spent $50 on that help. I almost did that. I almost grabbed that blunt. I almost did that. He'll test you like that. So don't think because you in the school, you go 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years. His brothers have been in school 20 years. Satan is still going to test you. So that's why I say when Judas, like he heard the rumors of Rome, and for some reason he just was like, you know what, I got this enemy. He could have been in the mindset of, okay, I got this enemy here. It'd be wise if I just him not thinking like, okay, the Lord will use 2,000 of us to conquer 500,000 of them because he didn't show them to them before. He wasn't thinking like, I'll defeat Demetrius and Alexander. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to side with this enemy, and I can join with this enemy here. They're heathens, but I can join hands with this heathen to fight this enemy that's been going to war with us for decades. Go ahead.
It's like, if I could, when growing up, there was always like a saying, around where I was growing up. Never let another man put fear in your heart. Mm-hmm. At that time, right, he was winning so many battles. Like no one was even dying in his army, right? And he was killing everybody. Mm-hmm. So why would he even think that would be any different with the Romans?
And that's a crazy thing because, right, like you're saying, like he was going to countless hundreds and hundreds of wars, whereas though he was not even one person was dying. And then here's a new enemy, a new great power. And you see them, and you're like, okay, I might just have to. I'm still at war with this one. I might just have to join hands with this new enemy to conquer this enemy. So it's just it was a day where Satan won that day. It was a temptation. It seemed right, like the right decision. But as we read later on, you can't trust these heathens. Either what we did for Demetrius, so they was going to kill Demetrius. And then the last second, he called for Israel to come and save him from the people who were trying to kill him in his own city.
Mm-hmm.
We saved him, and then after we saved him and left him back home, he didn't keep the oath. Like he made an oath, like we did that to keep the oath strong between Demetrius that he would not attack us. And even after we saved his behind, he went back to his city. His city respected him now, and when he was back on his throne, he still decided to go to war with us, even after we saved him from his own city. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is all subject, but I want to just give it to the Most High Christ, because I spoke some of my strong, and I understand why. Mm-hmm. Because like when me hearing, rehearing in a learning state that I'm a slave because I'm a felon, mm-hmm. and this make me understand why people get jobs that I can't, because they look at me like I'm a slave. Like this whole time sitting here, I'm completely angry.
Not a slave.
But that's what the 13th Amendment say. Right,
but of course, all of us.
Right.
I had handcuffs put on me, but that's because I was given an order to do something.
I got felonies.
Right, I understand. What I'm saying is this. I don't have a felony. I've never been to jail. I've been to jail to visit somebody. I've never been to jail, though. I've never been locked up. You have. But me and you were still a slave. Now, you're a slave just as much as LeBron James is a slave. LeBron James is richer than all of us, but he's still a slave. Oprah Winfrey she went to some store, Louis Vuitton store, and they seen that she's a black woman, not know that she's a billionaire. She wanted a purse that was on the top shelf. They was looking at her like, your black behind can't afford this. We're not getting that purse. But she's a billionaire. All of us still slaves. Now, you have the righteous anger of the 13th Amendment, but you're not more of a slave than me. I get what you're saying. You have certain things are limited, but you'll see the Most High will do things for you as long as you stay in this seat. The Most High will do stuff for you as long as you stay committed to Him.
Right.
And that felony ain't gonna mean nothing. It's not gonna mean anything.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I didn't get to finish, but being is that my anger, like I don't even know who to take it out on, so I don't have anybody to take it out on. But I know as soon as I get the chance to stand on that podium,
right, that's right.
As soon as I get a chance to stand on that podium,
right.
Oh, you gonna hear about that
13th
Amendment?
Right. Because nobody, they can't. Who are they to? Who is America to call any black man a felon? Whereas though they commit the mass the most crimes. They're the biggest criminals. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You moved and killed the whole people. So you killed the whole people you took people from a whole land, the native Indians. You stole millions of people from another land and brought them here to enslave them. So we're still a slave today. They're in prison. You're wrongfully taking them to another state, changing their address when they don't want their residence changed. You're making them a new resident in that state, using them so they can get more representatives in your state or your city. The Lord is going to destroy you for your evil acts, man. Who are they that try to even call? And then you got to just think about that. Like, you take a person, you bring a person to a state as a slave. You erase them from their name and their culture. They raised up with the last name of you.
Right.
We have your last name. We have your language. We don't start off as criminals. Everybody tries to go to school. Everybody tries to get a 9 to 5. And you don't hire us. Or you make it tough for us. We try to, and at certain times it was all right. In the time of segregation, we was good. In the time of segregation. had our own. That's because we had our own. Black hospital, black this, black that, black everything. It was the richest. How the hell in 1920s black people millionaires in 1920s? Segregation and us sticking together. They seen that was not good. That was not, black people can't flourish like this. They put all these things against us, like I just brought out earlier, all the different ways of warfare against us. You know what I'm saying? Who are they to even call somebody? They're not worthy of calling you brother, any sister a felon. They're the biggest felons.
Right.
It's just that this is their land and they make the laws. Go ahead.
Share the anger with this brother, because the worst part of the slavery is when you're doing their work. For 15 years, I worked in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, the reason I got out, they wouldn't let me arrest 4 white boys.
All right. You go to expound, so you go to expound on it, man.
It was, what angers me was the pride that I took in doing the job.
And this is the thing. So what age do you think did you start?
It's 85 to 2000, so I was in my late 20s when I first.
And what made you join?
My uncle, back home, my uncle was a retired police officer in Trinidad. And he told me something that applies in Trinidad, but not here. He says, I told him I was going to go to law enforcement when I had my first assignment. And he says, make more friends than you do enemies.
Right.
Now, in Trinidad, that's possible. I mean, here in this country, it's not.
So how is it possible in Trinidad? What you mean?
They're all black.
Right.
All black people. All Benjamin. Right. You have a few,
Elam.
That migrated in the 60s and 70s. But the policemen there don't harass you. Right. Even when you're on the street acting a fool, if they don't see you break the law, they just tell you, boy, go on about your business and, cool a little bit. But they're not going to pat you down and hold you for 15 minutes to see if they can find something. They don't do that. As a matter of fact, the way my cousins drive, all of them should have served time.
Right.
Police don't bother them. They don't care. You don't break the law, they don't bother you.
And then when you came here, what happened?
Everything changed. Everything changed. It was chaos. Talk about culture shock. I watched African student in elementary school jump from table to table and then threaten the teacher to kick her in the face if he tried to stop him. If she tried to stop him. And from there, having that image in my mind of my uncle, proud man, 6'4". When he came home, he was in control. And as you go up, you want to emulate that.
Right.
So I went into that service, and the more money I made when I did get some rank, they were telling me hung like a nigga jokes.
Yeah.
Are you a good old boy? I had a major ask me that. You a good old boy? I didn't even know how to answer.
Right.
Like, you see who you talking to? What are you talking about? And
you said this is the police or the army?
Police.
Right.
Police. Yeah, I had to escort a major to the state barracks for paperwork. I don't know why he couldn't drive himself, but on the way back, he looks at me and says, "You a good old boy?" And I wanted to back smack him, but I was like, "What? He must be blind. You can't ask me that question." I had another one. Well, I actually witnessed 3 Edomites having an argument. It was an Irish, a French, and a Polish on a site. They almost got terminated because they went at each other on who was superior and who had more slaves and who were better fighters and this, that, and the other. They don't get along with each other.
He said that's I'm bringing apart for you. Demetrius, Alexander, Demetrius versus you see the Edomites going to fight amongst each other, but they still Esau. Right. But they still want to be the number 1 Edomite. So, and so when you said something earlier, you said about pride. What made you have you said you feel like you had you took pride in the job.
Yes, sir. They kind of hype it up. You get through training, you go into training at the academy. I started with the federal government when I got the first sanction assignment. That was 60 days in Northern Virginia. Then we went to Glencoe, Georgia for 3 months. And they play with you mentally, take you through your physical changes. And out of 20 in my class, about 8 of us graduated. And they brought in a class directly after us and meshed us in with another 30-something. And only 10 of them passed. So you have a certain self-esteem that, you know, I'm better than the average.
Right.
But then when you get out on the street, they talk about that blue wall is us against them.
Right. So
Don't matter.
You join it. So don't matter black, white, whatever.
Right.
Long as they're blue.
Right. So we have to back each other up.
Mm-hmm.
But when I made contact with a vehicle, 5 people in it, 1 brother, the rest were Edomites. I made contact. I didn't call for backup first. Nobody was a problem. They were all so high, they didn't know what to do.
What year was it, you think?
That was 98.
Okay.
And I had, now keep in mind, there was at least a dozen arrests I made of brothers that had roaches. I mean, roaches. And at the time when I started with DC, the training officer told me to write it up as a gram. It wasn't nowhere near a gram.
Right.
That's what he told me, you know, and knowing better, I still did it.
Right.
Now, 9 years later, they contacted this van. I get everybody out the van, the cocaine, the pills, the weed all tossed up. I scraped it up enough on the carpet, had enough cocaine to field test it, blew instantly. 4.5 marijuana cigarettes, 12 pills or more. Sergeant showed up. He said, you don't have enough evidence. They try those cases individually. So if it was all of us, they wouldn't say as a group, this is what evidence you collected. As each person, they put that in against you to prosecute you. So when he told me I didn't have enough evidence, I was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. And he said, well, if you don't want to get written up for insubordination, you got to kick him. And that's what I said.
So what they do with the brother? They let the brother go?
I had collected all the IDs.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point. So when he called the lieutenant on the site commander, which is they'll never come on a scene like that unless it's a shooting. They don't come out the office. They had a quick chit chat. He came back. The sergeant told me, "Yeah, you got to let him go." And I went back and forth with him a little bit. He threatened to write me up. And then he asked me, "Did you get everyone's ID?" I gave him the ID. He went back to his cruiser. He sat down there for about 5 minutes. He wrote up a must-appear citation for drunk and disorderly, handed it to the brother with his ID, and told all of them to get going.
He got a brother citation, meaning he got to come to court.
Yes.
For being
he's on
for
record
DUI?
as drunk and disorderly. He wasn't driving, just drunk in public, disorderly. Wasn't no alcohol involved, just, you know, with the substance abuse.
Right.
So the brother had to show up in court, means he's on record now as having that arrest, even if he's not prosecuted. And they probably plead him out, which it's a conviction.
Right.
So you can have a felony record without ever going to jail. So when that happened, it was like a baseball bat in the head.
And he said that was then when you just like.
Yeah, after that, the lieutenant, about 2 months later, said to me, he says, "What, he put in for early retirement? Because I wasn't making no more arrests."
Yeah, I got a uncle who retired. Said cops. He said he was a cop, a DC cop, and he said it's too dirty, and he stopped. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Most High in Christ. See y'all, bros. You know what I'm saying? Look, where's the ex or whatever criminal? We got many ex-criminals, and we got many ex-military, police force, whatever. We Israel. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what, rather you was the arrestor or the arrested, what we know is the white man is the devil, man.
Yeah. Right.
That's right.
That's what we know. What we gotta know is either way, like you're gonna go become a cop, and you're gonna see once you start fighting for your brothers, they're gonna write you up and want to fire you because you're not a good old boy.
Right.
And rather you try to do the good thing at first, but then you see, okay, it's not working. I'm trying to get some fast cash or whatever, and you commit crime.
Right.
All that happens in a poor man's mind. When you're when you live in poverty, when you poor, you just gonna try to do it the right way, but then you like, okay, you wanna look and see, okay, maybe if I can move this, if I can do this quick play, I can come up real quick. And it can happen like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's all through poverty. Rather you go to whatever way, the criminal way or the enforcement way. We're doing it to try to have a better situation. Somebody that sold drugs is trying to have a better situation. Someone who becomes in the army is because they didn't graduate high school. Or they're not going to college. So they're going to go to the army to get their benefits. Go ahead.
Right. Come. Just for what he was, the brother was saying. I was when I was in Canada. His brother was telling me about this younger cat who was the neighborhood athlete, really just going around just carrying his basketball. He would speak to everybody. He was a good kid. He was in the barbershop, so he would always come around the barbershop, get his cut and bounce. But it was a couple dope boys that was in there. It was like, hey, you need a ride home? You know what I'm saying? He was like, nah, I'm good. Every time he would come in, he'd be like, I'm good. I don't need anything, So one day it was raining outside real hard, and he came in the barbershop and got his cut. He was like, hey, you need a ride home? I can take you home going that way anyway. I was like, yeah, all right, okay, because it's raining outside. You can get me there quicker. They get pulled over. The cops find a gun in the car.
Mm-hmm.
They said, whose gun is it? They say, no one's talking. No one's saying anything. It was four guys in the car. No one's talking. No one's saying anything. The cops pinned it on all four of them. And the minimum sentence is 3 years. So he got 3 years.
If somebody get pinned one gun.
One gun.
How can 4 people own one gun?
They did it. Everybody went to jail for 3 years.
Brought out. They
prosecute you individually.
Go ahead.
And they prosecute them all as a group in this instance. Mm-hmm. And they said all 4 of them owned that gun. All of them went to jail for at least 3 years. Mandatory minimum 3 years. And this dude just got a ride. He was like, it wasn't his gun. He didn't know whose gun it was. He just got in the car because he was getting a ride. And they pinned it. They pinned everybody in that car. Went to jail.
With that being said, we got to come back to the Most High. If we all come back to the law, statutes, you know what I'm saying? The water for y'all brothers coming being here. It's going to be brothers from all walks of life coming in here. We big time, might be big time brothers, might be brothers rich, brothers very poor, brothers that lived on the streets, and all that. But all we gotta do is just come back together for all these laws. So therefore, we protect each other with the laws of brotherhood, the laws of us not being a witch, which is not selling no drugs, which is us following the laws of the land. You can have a gun, but if your state it depends on your city and your state. Your state say you can have it. Go through the protocols and requirements, and go ahead and get your gun license. You get what I'm saying? And still, as a black man, as an Israelite, still be wise and understanding that, knowing your enemy, knowing how tricky and how shicey they are. You know what I'm saying? Whereas though they might try to pin something on you, even if you do have a gun license, it's a possibility whereas though something could still happen, even if you have a gun license. They can still try to pin something on you. Mm-hmm. But the Most High will protect us. I'm telling you from experience. You follow the law. You follow the laws of this Bible right here. You know what I'm saying? You'll be amazed with a lot of trouble that you'll dodge, which the average carnal Israelite goes through that does not follow the Most High laws.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With that, we're gonna pass the class of priest and also the question.
Security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. out of 1 West 125th Street, 125th Street, Harmony, and the Command General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shut themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, you can find this in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8-10. Means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashera. 10% of any increase, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you gets to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. Upcoming Holy Convocation is the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets, which is the first day of the 7th month, which is Monday, September 6th. Leviticus, you can find this in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24 through 25. Also, we have the I.S.U.P.K. Fire Cookout Weekend, which is coming up this weekend, this Thursday through Sunday, and that will be in Chicago, Illinois. You get with your camp leader or check on ISUPK.com for the events schedule. Do you have anything to add to that, sir?
No, that's it. That's about it. Try to make it out. We got the fire cookout coming this week. That's very, that's very soon. So if you can't make it, that's fine. But we got others coming up. You got the whole date, right?
Okay.
We got the next one, New York.
It's New York, August 19th through the
August
21st.
19th. So try to make one of these. So Chicago, if you can make it this weekend, if it's feasible, if you can do it. Yeah, August 19th, right?
Okay.
August 19th next month. If the cookout is a cookout in New York, try to make one of those cookouts, be amongst the brothers, eat, drink, be merry, talk, inherit the spirit, of the brothers, man. Inherit the spirit of I.S.U.P.K. And you'll learn, how you should live. You'll learn how you should move in this wicked place, America, in this wicked world. The world is given to the hand of the wicked. So, of course, we all surrounded by wickedness, your job, whatever, slavery, the people you deal with, because they don't, and they are wicked and they do wicked things. Even if someone who's so-called peaceful, but celebrate America's holidays and get high,
Right.
but they haven't committed murder, they are still wicked too, because they get high. Getting high is a worship of another God. Celebrating Christmas and Easter and all that is celebrating holidays and worshiping another God. It's still working. The Most High still hates it. You get what I'm saying? So we're just surrounded by people. If I can make it more clearly, we don't know ourselves. We don't know we don't know our right culture. You know what I'm saying? Our culture is all in here,
Right.
but we don't follow it. So of course, everything else that we do is the culture of our slave master, of the oppressor. And that's why your life is hell. Your life is hell because you're trying to appease America and appease the oppressor. And it's just going to destroy you and it's going to destroy your people. All right? So once you come to class, come to the cookouts, come to our holy days, you'll learn what you need to do to save your people. You'll learn what to do. You'll learn and you'll know what to do. And you'll learn how to cleanse your spirit from this evil spirit that America gave us, and this evil culture that we learned and adopted here in America. And you'll learn how to adopt back your original culture, which is the culture of the Most High God. All right? Go ahead.
Okay.
But if I may, your pastor is not teaching you that same thing that we talking about.
Right. And that's right. The brother's totally right, because when you see the Bible, you automatically think church, but no, it's not, because church talks about heaven and hell. You already live in hell. If you're a black man, if you live in America, you've been discriminated against. You've been forced to go against your own people. If the oppressor likes you more when you go against your own people, if most of your neighborhood is filled with drugs and needles and gunshots and no safety for the women, no safety for the children, you live in hell. There's people that live in gated communities with security. Like it's some communities you can go into, that you ride into, and they have a security booth at the community.
Right.
You have to check in with the security before you even enter their house or their apartment. That's heaven. The ghetto don't have a security booth and asking people who are you and what's your business before they enter the ghetto. They just walk right through or drive right through. There's the people who live in heaven who don't know what it is to. They don't know what it is to stand in front of a store and ask for change. They don't know what it is to have their electricity cut off. They don't know what it is to live in a third world country. They don't know what that is. Those people are living in heaven, and those people are the oppressors of America, man. So, and like the brother was saying, church teaches heaven and hell. Church teaches God versus Satan. It's only God, and Satan has to ask God to send you. Heaven and hell is on earth. When you die, you're going to be reincarnated. Your body's going to turn. Your spirit is going to go up to the Most High. The Most High is going to send your spirit back down on earth on His will. You know You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as wedlock. A lot of dumb Christians say you're having sex out of wedlock because they're looking for an actual marriage ceremony and a ring. The ring is comes from K. Julius. The ring, a person getting married, putting a ring on their finger is only like 50 or 60 years old. It's not that old. It comes from advertisement of K. Julius, one of those jewelry companies who associated the ring with a sign of marriage. Sex is marriage. Sex is marriage. It's in the Bible. Your pastor know what the hell he's talking about. He's a traitor. He's a prostitute for the oppressor and for America, man. You're only going to find the truth of the Bible from the I.S.U.P.K. All right? Good. That's it.
Shalom. Remind Akim and Akawasim to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, he should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headbands, a scarf. And with that, I say Amija, which means to stand. Wapanya Habadan, which means turn and face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer first in Hebrew. Repeat after me. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Hawa, Malakwaka, Aba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ratiza, Hayah, Shemayim, Adamnanawa, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalakinawa, Kabawatinawa, Kasalakinawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'ah, Tabi'ayinawa, Banasaya 1, Abba, Shayna, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Lakab, Amalakwa, Allah, Batapara, Yemen, Aman.
In English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, and in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us of our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it.
With that, I say Sar, which means a turn. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Imajim, Barak,
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatam.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatam.
Yashamatah. Class dismissed.
Time to get started.